Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Daily Bone Podcast. This is where we discuss all things crypto markets, including Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, meme coins, and NFTs. Today, we got a banger show ahead of you all. We're going to discuss the Ethereum ETF launch. It is scheduled for 9:30 a.m. Eastern. We're going to break it all down, cover it all live, share some predictions, and we'll see what happens. Very exciting day. We're also going to talk about the latest in politics. We got things shifting all around right now with Polymarket making some waves. It's continuing to gain popularity. And with everything shaping up on the election front, it is making for some exciting action, and also on the meme coin front. And lastly, if we have time, we will play our newest game that we are working on, our newest segment called Guess That Crypto Criminal. So we'll see if we have time for that one at the end of the show. Before we kick things off, today's show is brought to you in partnership with Karate Combat. We're going to be in Nashville this week. We're leaving tomorrow to give you guys some boots on the ground coverage. We're super excited to be doing another round of the partnership with them. They are absolutely dominating. They've been sharing some sneak peeks of some guests that are going to be there for their fight. This is their biggest fight yet, with a 9,000 person stadium or arena for this one. So we are super excited to be there for it. Quick reminder that the snapshot is happening tonight for the karate token. So if you want to get involved, if you want to vote and participate in the up-only gaming for the fight, which we are all going to be doing as well. We're going to be sharing our predictions for the fight later on this week. Make sure to go either buy some karate token, or you can go claim some if you if you're subscribed to our newsletter. You may have gotten a little airdrop over the weekend. So just check your inbox. You can search karate and easy. Real quick, can we share that you're going to be kind of participating in the event a little bit yet, or no?
I don't see why not. Yeah. So shout out my guy Sean Suvi. He's fighting on the influencer fight card. I believe he's the first fight. I'll be in his corner for the fight. So I'm going to be in the corner for the fight, walking out with him, an active participant in front of 9,000 screaming fans. And you know we're coming with that heat. My boy Sean, fast hands, Suvi is going to be winning. I got nothing but confidence in this. I'm hyped. It's not his first fight. So he's got some experience under his belt, kickboxing, MMA, some other stuff behind him. And your boy will be there, rocking and roaring to bring home the victory for our squad.
Let's go. That's going to be exciting. So you're going to be in the corner. You're going to be walking out with him and
yeah, so full corner work with the guy. His coach has given me what tasks I have to do. I think I'm going to be the towel boy, wiping the sweat off his forehead. You know, I won't be the cut man. I'm not a doctor, but you know, I'll still be there providing moral support, maybe getting a water bottle or two. Definitely screaming from the sidelines. And if it gets messy in there, if I see a cheap shot, I'm diving in. I'm diving into the pit head first. We're getting active.
Let's go. Yeah. There was last fight. There was a coach or a team member that got a little out of control.
I'm going to make that look like child's play. That's a promise. All right. So we keep the fight clean. We just want an honest, hardworking fight here. There better not be any cheap shots or I'm telling you right now.
Let's go. I love it. So if you want to participate, guys, go to karate.com. You can figure out all the instructions there on how to get started. Super easy. You can download the app on the App Store, either on Google Play or Apple. So let's kick off the show. We have so much to cover today. Signal, I believe you are on the weather report. Take it away, please, whenever you are ready. Let's go. I believe she may be frozen, unless it's just me. Easy. She frozen for you too?
Yeah.
All right. Frozen. All right.
Well, off to a red hot start.
We can just listen to the cicadas. Everyone be quiet.
No, we're not going to listen to cicadas.
Let's do the weather report.
Yeah, let's do that. Easy. You got it. Throwing it over to you.
What do I have sound?
Boom.
We're coming to you live here, fresh from I don't even know where, but it's time to dive into the weather report today, and we got a lot to cover. The majors chop with Ethereum outperforming as ETFs go live today. Bitcoin is down to 66.5K. Ethereum Ethereum is up to 3,500 and Solamo is down to 175. The leading top 100 coin of the day is ENS, up 15% to a $1 billion market cap. And over the past 24 hours, spot Ethereum ETFs received full approval yesterday and will begin trading at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Bitwise announced they're donating 10% of their Ethereum ETF profits to support open source development. Kudos to Bitwise doing something good. The gas fee's going back to the developers. Sounds like blast. Next up, more Bitcoin is on the move as Mt. Gox has moved over 5,000 Bitcoin worth over $340 million to prepare for Bitstamp's repayments. The U.S. government has also sent 59 Bitcoin worth a whopping $4 million to Coinbase and still holds 213,000 Bitcoin. These numbers were easily gobbled up by the $513 million in Bitcoin ETF inflows. However, since the most since June 4th, Kamala Harris earned enough delegates to make her the presumptive Democratic nominee and saw her Polymarket odds jump to 91%. Speaking of Polymarket, the platform saw a record $27 million of volume yesterday, as the last 2 days have accounted for more than half of June's total. Do I do the news coverage?
No, killing it. Fantastic. Well done. Easy. Thank you. Let's get into it. Some news coverage over the last 24 hours that was either covered during the weather report, thanks to Easy, or in our newsletter, which you can go subscribe at bodogos.com. Let's kick things off. I want to talk Polymarket briefly, considering Easy's been in there recently. I think you opened up an account and put some money in there as of this morning. Kicks is all over it. And I want to talk very briefly at first about Joe Biden. There's speculation that he's not, his health may be in question. And there are a lot of possible bets that people are making right now. I'm going to break down some of them, but Easy, while I'm doing that, you got into Polymarket and you've been making some bets on the political front. What are you taking right now? I'm very curious what you got over there.
So I placed 3 bets. I put $1,000 in this morning. $1,000. I was like, okay, I don't want to go too crazy with this. I want to get my feet wet, start chopping a little bit. I took, will Joe Biden make an appearance today? I took no for $200. Average is a 32-cent entry. That is currently sitting at a sell price, market sell right now. If I really wanted to get freaky with it, at about 40 cents, give or take. Not a ton of liquidity at 40 cents. It drops down to 34 cents. I'm basically break even on that. If I market sold it, I could probably limit sell it and get out for a 31% profit right now. Will Biden finish his term? I took no. He has to survive as president. I'm not talking like I don't wish death on no one, but I'm just saying he's got to stay in office till January 20th. So that's a pretty substantial amount of time. And these are kind of like, I think of these as more of a parlay. I think that one will actually rally if Biden does not make an appearance today, because today he's slated to get on Air Force One at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Polymarket has me looking through like scheduling on the global political affairs over here. I know his whole schedule today. He's got his daily brief this morning at 10 a.m. Then he's taking a flight to another part of Delaware, and then he's got a flight on Air Force One at 1 p.m. So I'm actively tracking. I got Skyscanner up. I'm watching if this plane's delayed, if there's a slight issue with how quickly he boards. If he doesn't board, does the plane stay stationary an hour after departure date? All these things are crucial here. You need to find your edge, and my edge is going to be watching the U.S. Congressional Committee and all of their various scheduling efforts. So we have that. And then I took Roy Cooper to be the Democratic VP nominee. This one, actually, to be completely honest, I don't know why I took this one. Somebody just showed it to me. Yesterday, he was the lead at 34 cents, but then news came out that Mark Kelly has put all of his funds into an anonymous trust, which has sent him up because it basically seems that he's putting the money away to get the nom. I hope maybe we get a little bit of a nice little rally. I'm break even on Roy Cooper. I could liquidate it right now. I might do that. I don't really know enough about VPs personally. Like, that's the one I'm a little iffy on. JD Vance was the one that I was confident on at the time, but I didn't take that. We'll see. That's the thing. Mark Kelly's got a twin and he's an astronaut. So I'm like almost more tempted to pivot over into that one. Like, dude, the guy's been to space. It's pretty fucking sick. Like, the moon landing was fake, but like, it's kind of cool.
Anything to add here, Kicks, while we have you on anything Polymarket you've been seeing? I don't know if I'm just consuming like Twitter propaganda or like misinformation, but it's getting out of control on Twitter right now. And then that's maybe even bleeding into some of these Polymarket bets. So I don't know if any of these bets are worth making right now. I would bet the Joe Biden not finishing his presidency as 40% feels like a pretty good one. But Kicks, I don't know if you have anything to add here or if you're still with us.
Yeah. Definitely still with you. Definitely still alive. Mark Kelly was great yesterday. I called that out at 15 cents. So there was a guy on Newsmax like last Thursday. He called the exact day that Joe Biden was going to drop out. So obviously, whatever inside source he has, pretty good. I think they re-interviewed him on Monday and said basically Kamala's the lock. And then later that day, a bunch of endorsements came in for Kamala, and he said that he heard that Mark Kelly is the top candidate. So that was a nice 2x on Mark Kelly from yesterday. I mean, the interesting thing is that you can just sell out right away, right? You don't have to ride. Right now, you can still get 3x odds if he ends up being nominated. But if you got in at 15 cents, you can just take the.
Wait, what'd you say? Your inside source said Mark Kelly?
The guy in Newsmax. There was a guy in Newsmax on Thursday. He said Joe Biden's going to drop out on Sunday, and I didn't think that was going to happen. And that literally happened. So I said, okay, I'm gonna just follow this guy on his next two calls, which was Kamala's a lock, and that Mark Kelly he thought was very likely to be the VP. He didn't say Mark Kelly's the VP. He just said it was very likely to be VP. If you think Kamala's the lock, I mean, Kamala's at 91 cents right now, so you can still get a 10% return. I think that happens in a couple of weeks at the Democratic convention. So, 10% return over a couple of weeks, not so bad. You could have shorted Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama went up to 10% yesterday. I think just things that I've learned with this so far is that, humans have a natural bias to think that things that they think are unlikely to happen, they think will never happen, right? And things that they think are likely to happen, they kind of overweight it as a certain thing. And you can get yourself, wrecked on those sides. Especially be careful if you're taking bets like 80% plus, right? They can definitely swing against you. I think one of the best things you can do is counter trends. Because these are all like order books, decentralized order books, right? So if an order book gets blown out one way, it can overswing. So for example, despite liking Donald Trump, I took a pretty sizable no on him at 72 cents early last week, just thinking hey, the Democratic Party is not somebody that's just going to give up and roll over. They're gonna fight, and they're gonna close that gap. So he's down to 65%. I think I could definitely see that tightening to the 50, 65, 55, 60% range rather. But there's all sorts of things to play. I think you want to try to play things that you have an edge. And I think you can also just look for things that are good swing trades where you think something's overvalued or undervalued. Couple of days ago, I
just swapped out my Roy Cooper and took Mark Kelly.
There you go. I 2 days ago, I took a bet on the crypto markets on Polymarket. There was a really fun one where basically you could bet that Solana would reach an all-time high before Ethereum does and make 2.5x. If Ethereum reaches an all-time high first, you lose all your money. And if neither reach an all-time high in 2024, you still make 25%, 30% returns. So there's lots of interesting, plays and different scenarios you can take. People that are interested in crypto, they literally have an airdrop market. So will MetaMask drop a token by September 30th? Last I checked, it was at 4% yes, so you could take a no there. It's probably unlikely that they're going to launch a token in a month and a half. But yeah, there's all sorts of interesting markets that you can play. I had a big cash on the British Open, but I think you can see it on the timeline. I saw Beanie getting in on Polymarket. The volume on Polymarket's absolutely insane right now. So I think there's lots of edges to make money. And I think that they raised $70 million right now. The vast majority of their volume is politics, specifically, U.S. leaning politics, and that's going to end in November. I don't think that they're just going to be well, that was a good run, we'll see you again in 4 years. I think they're going to plow a lot of money into opening up interest in other markets like crypto, like sports, like business, like science. So I think that there's going to be lots of opportunity to hop in. It kind of gives me the same energy that I had with early NFT trading, where it's like, hey, if there's a lot of volume, there's a lot of money swashing around, you can definitely find an edge for yourself. You just got to be careful because you can easily get blown out. There's a bunch of screenshots of people that put millions of dollars on Joe Biden being a lock, and they pretty much got entirely blown out. So you want to be smart, especially illiquid markets. Just know you may not be able to like exit your position, just like NFTs, right? Like you may not find a buyer on the other side, and you're just going to be kind of trapped in that position until it resolves. So be smart, but I think it's definitely something fun to explore and look at.
100%. And Kicks, I appreciate that breakdown. In general, I think there's just opportunities here in this market that we're in, and Twitter, if you're pretty in the look, I mean, there's a lot of different information being thrown around, but and I'm not like, we're not a political podcast or anything like that, but it is the financialization of this has created some pretty interesting opportunities. And you can kind of see how the market reacts to it versus yeah, I mean, look, Polymarket priced in Joe Biden dropping out and was talking about it way earlier than any of the news stories. So it's just interesting, I think, just to watch all this play out. I'm going to pivot a little bit here. I'm going to call small audible, and I want to quickly cover some of the Ethereum ETF expectations since it's going live here in about 7 minutes, and we'll cover some of the other things once this thing goes live. But look, we have the Ethereum ETF expected to go live today at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. I'm going to quickly dive into some of the ETFs that are going live and kind of some of the differences that happened between this one and the last one, which was the Bitcoin ETF. We have, as far as fees go, we have the smallest fees going to Grayscale out of all of them, which was surprising. They're converting 10% of their ETH Trust into their new ETF as well. The old ETH Trust had 2.5% fees. A quick comparison, we're also seeing Franklin Templeton pitching the Ethereum ETF as, or Ethereum in general, as Ethereum's not just another crypto. Its ability to drive business, enhance security, expand programmability, and more makes it a cornerstone of future tech. And its risk return profile, low correlation to traditional investments, and growth potential make it a compelling investment. I thought that was pretty cool. Like, it's just interesting seeing how these financial kind of institutions position Ethereum. And I'm just curious to see how the flows look like. Easy, I'll throw over to you in a second as far as expectations go. But for comparison, the Bitcoin ETF inflows in their first 4 days of trading were $1.25 billion. I saw a tweet yesterday from a trader saying that the bar is $100 million a week of inflows for Ethereum. And that's kind of what he's watching for in order for it to be considered a win. But Easy, any expectations for what we might see today as far as the Ethereum ETF for inflows and what that might mean for the price action?
It's tough to say. I don't really have like a good grasp on what the inflows might be. Yeah, that's kind of the hard part for me. Like, what were the Bitcoin ETF inflows day one? Do we know?
Day one, I don't know. I just know the first week were 1.25 billion.
First week is 1.25 billion. Let's say $75 million.
For the first day?
Mhm.
Okay. Kicks, I know you had
No
something
idea
to say
why,
here.
but that's the number we're going with.
All right. Anything to add here, Kicks? And Signal, I'll throw to you after.
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing that I didn't really fully think about when it came to the Bitcoin ETF, but like a way that you have to look at like inflows, right, is like inflows is pretty much like the same thing as volume, meaning that like an inflow means that people are buying on the ETF side, and there's a seller on chain to like BlackRock that is then bridging it out, right? So like for perspective, you said the first week there was $1 billion of inflows into the Bitcoin ETF, because I get a lot of people and they're like, there's all these inflows. Why isn't the price going up? Right. Like for perspective, if you go to CoinGecko and you look at Bitcoin daily volume on exchanges, on chain, etc., Bitcoin's daily volume is $48 billion every single day. So to get $1 billion of inflows on the ETF, it's just volume, right? And that's like less than 1% of the daily volume of Bitcoin. I think what you can say is that the inflows into these ETFs are people that are more likely to hold them a long time. A lot of that $48 billion of volume is market makers and that going back and forth, so that the inflows are stronger than just like volume. But like that is one thing to consider basically, is that inflows, even if they're strong, aren't going to make the price go up unless you're exhausting the sellers at the current price point. And there's no more sellers at the current price point, then that those inflows can help move the price up. But yeah, I think we got the move up in pretty much all of the crypto markets off of the Bitcoin ETF, right? And the excitement about that. So I think like the second splash from ETH ETF probably isn't as strong. I'd even argue that maybe there's more of a chance for like a bearish thing, meaning like if inflows come in really low, people may kind of panic off of that, more so than like if inflows are high. Yeah, maybe there's a narrative trade up, but it's like the inflows themselves, I don't think are going to violently move the price. Regardless, I think on a long-term perspective, it's super bullish because we're opening up major crypto markets to a lot of participants to be able to get exposure to. So I still think it's a very, very net positive thing. I just don't think that we have to obsess about the inflows so much unless they're absurd. Like I think that if ETH came out and had $1 billion of inflows like Bitcoin did, people will pump ETH just off of the narrative of that.
Yeah, that's a great perspective. Signal, I'll throw it to you.
Yeah, and conversely, to add to what Kix is saying, if the inflows are extremely underwhelming, then Ethereum could sell off on the back of that. So it could go either way depending on how extreme they are. I think when it comes to what will the numbers be, I mean, I would just be picking a number out of the air if I told you what I think the inflows will be. And I think like native crypto Twitter are also finding it difficult to put a number as to what it will look like by the end of the week. What I do think is interesting is that I think we'll see a cross section of the Bitcoin ETF investors. So whoever they are, I expect you'll get that client base going into the Ethereum ETF. But you're also going to get a lot of speculation on the ETF because it allows institutions to speculate and trade and hedge and do all these fancy sort of derivative structured products positions that they perhaps couldn't have done before. So I do think the inflows will look interesting. What that number will be, no idea, but I don't think it will be underwhelming.
Yeah, and within either way, the way I'm thinking about it is I'm just expecting a lot of volatility in the next few days, especially with the fact that Ethereum has underperformed pretty much all year. Is the big thing that I'm looking at. Is we did see relative strength in literally the last 24 hours compared to the Solana and Bitcoin, but overall Ethereum has been disappointing. And the main question is this going to continue underperforming and continue to show weakness, and Solana continues to cut down the lead that Ethereum has basically, or could this ETF be the institutional boost that it needs? And when we first saw this approval, I mean, we saw Ethereum run all the way up to almost $4,000, right, on the news that the Ethereum ETF applications were coming out and that the approval was going to be happening soon. It ran up to like 3,900. It's been very volatile this year, but overall, you'd be in a way better spot if you just kept it in Bitcoin or Solana. So this thing's going to go live. I believe it's just started trading. So we'll be giving you guys some coverage, some updates on what all of these ETFs are doing, what inflows are like in just a few minutes. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. Overall, though, compared to the Bitcoin ETF launch in January, like Kix, what you were saying, the excitement, I don't know if it's my Twitter algorithm being maybe more Solana based or whatever that looks like. The excitement for this ETF feels so much lower than the Bitcoin ETF back in January. Everyone was looking forward to this. Everyone was kind of on their toes waiting to see what happens, versus this time around, it feels kind of quiet. I don't know if anyone else is feeling that.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the, active traders that I know in the space, and they have good like crypto Twitter influences, a lot of those people switched to Solana, rotated their ETH bags to Solana like Q4 of last year. And so I think they're much more interested in that Solana and Solana price going up and don't care so much about Ethereum. I still hold a very big bag of Ethereum, just because it's long-term capital gains and I don't want to like swap. I think that if all of the markets move up, ETH's going to move up with it, right? It may lag Bitcoin a little bit. It may lag Solana a lot of bit, but it's still going to move up. And I can take profits on that when I feel comfortable. But yeah, I mean, ETH is in a tough position right now because of the fact that like they're not considered what Bitcoin is, right? Bitcoin is what Bitcoin is. A lot of companies, like you hear, Dell, he's buying Bitcoin. He may be interested in Ethereum, right? But there's like companies that are trying to hedge against the dollar. They can buy Bitcoin without the fear that, oh, Solana is going to gobble up ETH or another alt L1 is going to, gobble up ETH. I still think that the, ETH positioning is very strong. Like it's really ETH, and then Solana is nipping at its heels. It's not like all of these other alt L1s are capturing a ton of share. And it's not like Bitcoin doesn't have competitors. Bitcoin has Caspa, which, pretty much all the Bitcoin miners, not all of them, but a lot of them moved over to, and people are bullish on that. But like ETH's just in an interesting positional standpoint because all of the volume is going to L2s. But I mean, you have things like, Coinbase. Coinbase didn't go out and create an alt L1, right? They built on top of Ethereum with Base using Optimism. And I think that kind of stuff is bullish. Like you're not always going to be the hottest, person on campus, right? You're not always going to be the hottest person on your team, right? But I think ETH has a very strong foundation. And ETH's probably going to be one of those pumps that if and when it happens, it's going to be one of those hated rallies, right? Where everybody's positioned on Solana, everyone's trashing on ETH, and then it goes on some sort of, crazy run, or it doesn't. But I mean, I think ETH is positionally very strong. It's just not the hot trade right now. Solana has a ton of momentum behind it. That's clearly the hot trade.
Yeah, absolutely. And going just in case anyone was wanting to follow along with us, we have the ETF is live and we're watching this play out. I pinned up a tweet of the link to the BlackRock ETF. It's the ETHA, and we're seeing some action here. Nothing really to report.
You know what? One thing I'm surprised about, like where's Polymarket at with like ETH inflows end of week, right? That'd be a fun market to trade, right? Like under 100 million, 100 to 200, 200 plus. That'd be a fun way for us to, make some predictions on it. But yeah,
I don't know why they didn't have that. Kicks, like we have the Ethereum ETF begins trading by July 26th. That hit, but overall, like despite seeming like Polymarket's taking over, there's not that many bets or volume on there. So I think they're
I think they're putting just a ton of their focus right now on the political side. I'm sure with that raise, they're hiring some more people to be able to create more markets, because Polymarket's biggest area where they could get competition is people competing with them on the long tail. So you have to think that they're going to get more crypto stuff going in. But yeah, one of the problems is if there's not enough volume on these markets, then it's like hard to get, bids filled and stuff like that. So.
Yeah, 100%. You don't want to spread yourself too thin on the Polymarket front. Yeah, look, I mean, we're going to cover the Ethereum ETF as we see some news come through here. Not seeing too much action on prices. It's still holding steady at 3,500. We're not going to cover it too like second by second at this time. But as news comes in, like I was saying, you can track the prices of these ETFs. We're seeing some like 500K of volume on BlackRock, for example, on the BlackRock ETF. So we'll be covering this all. We'll check in a few minutes here. I want to go back and talk about some of the recent news we've been seeing in the last 24 hours. Obviously, Cakes, you covered the fact that there was massive inflows in the Bitcoin ETF yesterday. We saw $533 million worth, which is pretty absurd, but not a lot of bullish price action on that front. Another quick news piece. We saw CNBC discussing the implications of the U.S. Treasury holding Bitcoin as a reserve asset. Obviously, we saw some news that Trump would be announcing that this weekend at Nashville. Easy, do you think that there's any chance that this happens, that Donald Trump announces that will be happening if he gets elected at some point during the conference on Friday or on Saturday? Sorry.
I think so. I think there's definitely an argument to be made that there will be some level of reserve that goes in, some level of Bitcoin backing. He's already said it, not at a Bitcoin conference, so he's going to know his core audience. I also just scaled out of my Biden to not make an appearance today position.
You sold it?
Yeah, I got shook out, dude. I got shook out.
Why? Why?
It surged to 79%. And I was like, oh shit, I'm in danger.
Then
But I
you
had
made
it listed. I made $62 because the spread was so large. There's a pretty large spread on no at the time, and the liquidity is really low. So someone came in with like $1,000, market bought it, and I got out with $60 profit. So currently, portfolio is up almost 10%. Portfolio is up almost 10%. We're almost at $1,100. We like that, and I still have Mark Kelly to be Democratic VP nom and no on Biden finishing his term.
So you took you sold your Joe Biden makes an appearance today position. Is that what?
Yeah. But somebody bought it like way over the market. Like that was crazy to me. Like that's the thing is like these are illiquid peer-to-peer markets. So if you open up, go down a little bit, open up the order book.
Yeah.
Trade no.
Oh, trade no.
There we go. So you can see like to get up to 40 cents right now from 28 cents, there's a 10-cent spread. It's massive. Like that's a very big spread. So if someone wanted to just come in and market buy no, then they basically have to pay pretty substantially over the floor value, which is what I had it listed at. I had like $260 listed at 42 cents. The buy came in, bought it. My average was like 33 cents. So, I mean, it ain't much, but it's like a nice little gain on this. I think that's where there's like
you can do a lot of that, and then you're not locked up easy. You're not locked up and you're not going to get blown out of a trade, right? Because you could get blown out if it resolves 100 or 0, right? And that's, I think a lot of people think like, you got to hold these things the whole way. You can make nice swing trades on them. You also can market make them. So I've played around with a few markets where basically the quick math on how you can properly market make is if you take equal amounts of yeses and no shares, if you add up your average cost on both, if it equals less than $1, then you're profitable and you're delta neutral. So like on these e-liquid markets, like the one that Easy was in, you can like, put a no down at 32 cents and you can put a yes at 62 cents, right? And if you get those both filled, you have a no and a yes at 94 cents. You're making, 6 or 7% without any risk. But yeah, man, I mean, here's the thing with just all of the shakeup, there's going to be a lot of volatility. In these markets for sure.
Yeah, there's not a lot of volume, like not a lot of liquidity in general, and with all the volatility of, hey, is he going to make an appearance? Oh, he's in the hospital, or hey, this happened, and it's on Twitter. I've been seeing some crazy stuff on Twitter that I just can't. I literally I don't know what to make of it, and then, overall, and I was gonna say, someone made a comment. Noel said the comments on Polymarket are incredible. I don't recommend checking out the comments on Polymarket. This is like unfiltered internet.
It's kind of it's a little bit 4chan-ish. And I mean, but the funny thing is you can click on these people dropping these comments and you can see their like lifetime P&L, right? So you'll see someone that is just like toxic as fuck. And
pull up those comments. Pull up those comments.
And you click on their profile, and they're down $350,000.
Yeah, let's go look
at
why
they're.
Wow.
Go to the Biden. Go to Biden to make an appearance. Go to the Biden to make an appearance. There's a comment there. I want you to pull up on it.
We'll Joe Biden make an appearance. Scrolling down to the comments.
Okay, so Easy Eats 69,420. If you want to click his profile. Oh yeah, let's go, boys. I'm $62.
He's in the green, baby.
He's in the green. Matters, baby. It's all that matters.
It's so funny.
And just quick comment. There's a lot of people, guys, I wear nose strips. Okay. My nose is fine. Okay. I get peak oxygen levels. I had top tier dreams last night. Okay. So I'm fine. Yeah. I'm in the woods right now. You're going to hear some cicadas in the background. A lot of people consider that peaceful. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah. Kicks. I mean, this is peak performance breathing. They're just not familiar with it. These comments are really funny. And you can see their bag bias too. Like it brings in, it shows the shares of the bet that they have. So it's like,
and look at that real-time news update. 9 minutes. I figured out why it was surging. He tweeted half an hour ago. There we go. That's very interesting.
What did he tweet? He said, oh my God, this is not him. This is not him tweeting. Folks.
That's the thing is like things can overswing on like on nothing things, and you really got to be careful. You really got to like read these rules and see what like resolves as a yes or a no. Like for example, I saw someone in crypto Twitter, and they were thinking about placing a bet on Joe Biden resigning before the end of his term. And he said, like, what happens? Once again, none of us wish this on anyone. What happens if Joe Biden like suddenly dies? What does this resolve to? That it actually resolves to a no. If someone dies and is not able to resign, then it's not a yes for resign. It's actually a no. But then again, he could sign a letter right before, and once again, I don't like talking about this kind of stuff. I wish Joe Biden like the best in his health and everything like that. But I mean, the smartest thing on this stuff is like to try to like counter trends or catch trends before they happen. Like think ahead. Like a lot of people thought like Joe Biden ending his term was like a near 0% possibility. Now you see Kamala coming in. She has a lot of popularity. I actually think she's a much stronger candidate than people will give her credit for. I think people kind of knock her out. I think that like they make fun of her for laughing and stuff like that. I think that's like very like personable, like someone that's personable. I think that she's definitely smart, like well-spoken. I've heard her talk about things. She's also tougher on crime, which went against her in 2020. It's probably going to work for her in 2024. But of course, there's plenty of things now that she's president that can come out on the negative, or presidential nominee or about to be, that can come out on the negative side for her. But yeah, you can think about things like, okay, if they want to put her up as nominee, is it better for her, like Joe Biden, to resign and her to come in and get like 2 months of incumbency? Or is that a negative, right? And try to put yourself in the shoes of, strategists. I got no fucking clue what I'm talking about. That's why I'm not touching that market. I think like the simplest market, if you think Kamala is a lock, you can make 10% on your money right now. If you think she's going to get some competition at the DNC, you can take a no on that, and you can ride that no down for a 10% gain. You know what I mean? If you think, but I don't know. I think you see all the horses kind of lining up in a row behind her. I think it's a pretty decent chance that she's a lock. So then you want to play other markets. I think like the easiest thing is, if you're super bullish on the Democratic Party getting their stuff together, you can take some positions against the Republican Party on individual swing states, on like popular vote and stuff like that. Like all sorts of plays. There's tons of different stuff, but be smart. Google like bankroll management, right? Like I know somebody that, just put their whole stack in a position that they thought was going to work out and it didn't, and they got blown out, right? That's just stupid. That's like putting your entire net worth into one NFT project, right? Like you want to be smart and you want to say, hey, if I put in $2,000, right? Your average bet size should be $50. If you're highly confident in something, it should be $150, right? You should not be yeeting. But who am I fucking talking to? I'm talking to people that just, I saw something on Twitter the other day. Someone's like, I went down to 12 SOL. I had 12 SOL left and I put it all in DMAGA and now it's $500,000. You only can do this shit in crypto. So, a lot of people in this space are going to ignore that. And they're just going to say, $2,000, I'm going to put it in on Michelle Obama at 4%. Let's ride this thing to the moon, man. I'm getting rich.
The thing is, like on Kicks, on some of the bets that you've been talking about, like, I mean, it's like in this period of time between now and November, I think we're going to see things that no one has actually thought about. The assassination attempt will be one of those. No one thought about it. And I think we'll have these small sort of like tail events happening. But for example, the one you mentioned earlier, where I think it has Donald Trump at 62% for presidency. Personally, I think that's way too high because Kamala's been in the seat for 36 hours. She's seen record donations come in. She hasn't even gone into a debate with him. She's ahead in 3 polls, but he's ahead on some of the swing states. So I definitely think that gap is going to tighten. And I think this will be a very, very sort of 50-50 race. And I think at the moment, Trump is still sort of over polling because of Biden. But now that Biden's gone, I don't think people are pricing in how strong a candidate she actually is. And I think when people will see her in a forum such as a debate, she's going to have that kind of Michelle Obama, when you have these kind of lines, just youthful energy. And I think while he can look very strong against her, there'll be areas where she will sort of shine against him. And so I think on Polymarket, it's really interesting to look at these kind of odds where you have him at 62%, I think too much. I think it's going to become much, much narrower over time. So rather than trying to think of a black swan event, tail event, like an assassination, you do the most obvious stuff, which is Trump is polling too high for some of those bets on there.
I 100% agree with you on that. Also, like an interesting theory I read is that a lot of, because people will naturally kind of bet their leanings a little bit. I try to go against it. That's why, like, even if I like Trump, like a short at 72 cents made a lot of sense to me. But a lot of maybe Democratic leaning whales on Polymarket got absolutely blown out by Biden, right? Because they had like money on Biden winning the election, and that's now a zero, right? And so there may be like a lot of liquidity opportunities on Democratic leaning prediction markets because a lot of the people with a lot of money got blown out, and that money went to the Republican side bettors, and they may overswing the wrong way. I think a very interesting bet, if you think A, Kamala's a lock, right? And B, she's going to trend up better than her on the popular vote. I think she's at 43%. I don't think a Democrat has lost a popular vote, maybe in this century. And she's at it. It's one of the top ones. If you click on politics, maybe, U.S. election or something. Yeah, or you can type in the markets, like popular vote. If you search in the markets, you can type. Sorry if you guys hear boats in the background. Popular vote winner. So okay. Now she was at 44% earlier. Now she's surging a little bit. But if she's a lock as the Democratic nominee, I don't think Democrats have lost maybe once in the last 6 elections. So you're going to get a 2x there, even if she loses, winning the popular vote. Yeah, so Kerry lost it in 2004 against an incumbent. Other than that, a Democrat has never lost the popular vote. And also the U.S. demographics have changed a lot since 2004. So, I mean, if you think Kamala's a lock, I mean, you could probably swing trade that up to 75% and not even have to go through the risk of the election. But if she's the Democratic candidate, I mean, that's a fairly easy 2x. Although to see it all the way through for a 2x, you're going to have to hold that through November. So 4 or 5 months.
Yeah, that makes sense. Overall, it's just interesting seeing, I think the fact that it's also a little bit more of a crypto native platform maybe has that inherent bias of being maybe a little bit more Republican. Overall, I was pretty impressed with.
But the thing is, Clemente, everybody that said that ate their words, because everybody said that. And then Biden got completely blown out. And the people that were like putting nose on him and stuff like that made a lot of money. Here's the thing. If you think it leans one way, then there's free money on the other side. And that's why I did things like I took a no on Trump at 72. I think, taking a yes on Kamala, popular vote is one of the things. Like if people are leaning too far on the wrong side, then you should have free money opportunities. Also, if you're a smaller person and you're looking for some like risk-free arbitrage, you can go on Predict It, which is an Australian political prediction market that leans on the US side. And there is very big spreads between what Polymarket has and what Predict It has. That's mostly because Predict It has like a $500 max bet that anybody can put on a market. So there's no whales that can come in and really swing things. So if you're a little bit of a smaller fish and you're like, hey, I want to make some just like risk-free money, you can load some money in on Predict It. You can load some money in on Polymarket, and you can just get risk-free arbitrage, right? Like if you can get Kamala winning the election at, so it has Donald Trump at 58 cents here to win the U.S. presidential election. And you just showed on Polymarket, he's at like 65, right? Yeah. So that's 7% risk-free money. If you want to just, lock that stuff in. Once again, the issue on Predict It is it's like there's a 5% withdrawal fee and there's $500 max bet, but there's free money to be had out here for sure.
Yeah, super interesting. Great breakdown, Kicks. I think this is a super interesting topic. Very quickly, we're going to check in here on the Ethereum ETF, which has gone live it's been live for about 20 minutes. It's not looking too pretty. It's not looking too pretty. Quick update. I don't know what the numbers look like. We're still waiting on those.
Who could have ever seen this coming?
Ethereum is down 1% on the day to 34.40. Bitcoin is down 1.6%, bleeding more. Solana down 4%. Easy. Is it over? What are we looking at here?
It's not over. It's just like not surprising. Like sell the news. It happens. It happens every time, at least short term, 7 to 10 days, same exact price action we're going to see with Bitcoin. I think I'm going to absolutely dominate Nick, and he's going to have to send me a Solana, and he'll never hear the end of it, saying that Sol will break 220 by the end of August. Like, dude, that's $50 from here. Like, we just had a
Guys,
massive
it's
rally.
literally been 20 minutes. It's literally been 21 minutes since it opened. I'm
7 to
sorry,
10
Evie,
days.
but like,
It's over.
I'm sorry,
It's
but like, who
over.
could have predicted it? It's like over. I mean, guys, it's also like peak summer. Trading volumes are always low over peak summer, right? And and that isn't even a testament to like what we're seeing. All I'm saying is that the first 20 minutes is not, it's not an indicator of what will happen over the next three days because of the bet that we have on Friday, but it's not an indicator even of the next 3 months. I just think there's like way too much there's way too much happening politically and economically that people really can't predict what the inflows are going to be either on the Bitcoin side, ETF, the Bitcoin side or the ETH side for the next like 3 months. And I really think politically that is going to have a sway on what things happen. But we care about the next 3 days, obviously, because we need those inflows to be, in my case, over 300. In Easy's case, I think it was over 1 billion. But the fact is, first 20 minutes, come on, guys, we need at least 24 hours before you say it's all over.
So Kick sent me something very interesting here. It's the Polymarket bet of will ETH or Sol hit an all-time high first. It's been predominantly Ethereum for the last month or so at 62 cents. As of this morning, it's down. It is down to 46 cents. So meaning that Solana is being bet on to hit an all-time high first over Ethereum. This is possibly showing the latest performance of the ETF. Kicks, this is a super interesting bet. Do you have any money on this?
Yeah, I do. I actually have money on the Sol side. I got in at like 42. It's a really interesting market, right? Because there's certain Polygon markets where if something doesn't hit, the market resolves to 50-50, right? So what this means is, will ETH or Sol reach an all-time high first? Since I got into Solana around 42 cents, what it means is, or maybe even 40, what it means is if neither of them hit all-time high by December 31st, 2024, my 42 cent Solana will resolve to 50 cents. So I will make 20 to 25% return if neither of them reach all-time high. If Solana reaches all-time high first in 2024, I'll make 2.5x my money. And the only way I get blown out of the trade is if ETH reaches an all-time high before Solana, before the end of the year. So it's awesome where you can get in these trades where it's not binary. It's not you win or you lose. There's multiple scenarios where like you can win a lot, you can win a little, or you can lose. Like I put a hedge, one of the first trades I made on Polymarket, I took Kamala no as VP and Biden yes as president. And the hedge that it created for me was that if the ticket stayed the same, I lost $50. If the ticket changed, like if Biden was out, I made $50, right? And if Biden stayed in, but he replaced Kamala with a new VP, I made like $500, right? So I took the bet basically being like, I'm pretty sure that Joe Biden's like the ticket's going to get shooken up and I'm going to make $50. And there's this outside chance that like Biden tries to just replace Kamala to stay in. Obviously that didn't happen, but in that outside chance, I would have made a lot of money. I made a little bit of money, but there's lots of interesting things that you can do here. Also with that market right there, you could probably market make that. And if you can get shares on ETH and Solana below 50%, then you make money regardless of the scenario, right? As long as you balance out the shares that you have. This is a very illiquid market, only $28,000 total bet. Does it have any rewards? Can you go to the top of the order book? Click on that rewards right there. Down a little bit, right on the top of the order book. Right on the top of the order book, rewards in blue with a little green dot next to it.
I don't know. Oh, I
middle
see.
of your
Yep.
screen, middle bottom.
15.
Yeah, so not a lot of rewards. Some of these markets have a lot of rewards where if you just sit with bids in the middle, you can make some money. But yeah, I would keep an eye on this one because if you can get ETH, you could set a bid right now with like ETH at 48 cents and Solana at 40 cents. Maybe you can make some money. But yeah, obviously there's some dumpage happening because of the markets. And yeah, that's the thing is there's a lot of anticipation around the ETFs. I mean, I could see ETH go back down to 3,000, right? And that could potentially be a good buy there. If people are disappointed and thought the ETF was going to do massive numbers. maybe you could get back in there.
Yeah, that makes sense. And within the, I mean, Kix, I love the way you're looking at the prediction markets, Polymarket, and how you're thinking about it. And it's not just there's so many different ways you can make money, especially with all this like political stuff heating up this summer. It's probably going to continue. Obviously, we have Trump speaking this Saturday at the Bitcoin conference, and the election heating up for November. This is probably going to be the biggest storyline of the summer by far. Very quickly, I wanted to talk meme coins for a second. It was interesting to see Bowden up 165% in the last 24 hours. That was kind of interesting to me. We saw the comma token trending. It's up 47%. Again, continuing. Signal, you don't own that anymore, right? The
No,
comma
I
token
sprinted
here.
out. No, yeah, I sprinted out. I just the thing about being in a political meme coin is that there's so much speculation in this period and so much false news being thrown around as there would be. Like the Republicans are obviously going to throw mud at the Democrats, and the Democrats are obviously going to throw mud at the Republicans, and this is all going to play out on Twitter, right? Because that's where news breaks, and that's really going to affect those meme coins. And so the reason why I think Polymarket is so interesting because it's political is because you can be really, really right. You can really think these through. You're hearing Kicks and hearing how he's thinking about politics and how this plays into betting and how you can do your bets. Like if you go and do all that thinking and then you want to express that view, being in a meme coin is not how you want to do it. Like if you're going down the path that Kicks is talking about. I think if you want to just have like a directional bet, like, will Kamala win the presidential election, and you think that's possible? Yeah. Okay, great. Go for it. But I really don't like the volatility of this particular one because I'm actually putting my thinking brain on and I actually want to like get money from it. And I don't want to be that I went into the supermarket, I didn't have reception, and then I missed it that, the Republicans found a photo of Kamala doing, naughty things at university, and then all of a sudden the token dumps. I'm like, what? I was right. So I'm not going to be in it, but I still think there are, it's great for swing trading, but I'm not going to express my political views through a meme coin. I'll do that on Polymarket, but other stuff like cats, dogs, we've got Miggles.
Yeah, a quick check in here on the Ethereum ETF from Bloomberg bro Eric Balchunas. He said that in the first 15 minutes of trading, a total of $112 million have traded in the ETF. This is only about half of what Bitcoin's ETF's volume was on day one in the first 15 minutes. But he makes a note that 50% is impressive. So this is
so wait, it's at 112 million
in terms of volume. This is volume,
Okay.
not inflows.
Okay, and what's the over under on inflows? We had 300 million.
Yes, 300 million. But this is after. So we have today, tomorrow, and Thursday to hit that. So we'll see what the inflows are like. Inflows are usually reported at the end of the day. But as far as volume goes, it is about half of what Bitcoin's was, the Bitcoin ETF was back in January in the same first 15 minutes. So I think overperforming maybe, but this is just using volume as a metric. But we're seeing how pretty weak price action. I expect some volatility for the rest of the day for sure. But look, that's going to do it for today's show. I hope you guys had have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you all for tuning in. As far as today's show, it's brought to you in partnership with Karate Combat. We're going to be going to Nashville tomorrow, and we're going to be there all week covering the fight, Karate Combat 48. It is their biggest fight to date. They are at a massive arena. There's going to be 9,000 people there, way bigger than the previous venue. So it's going to be big. It's going to be big, and we're going to be there to cover it. There's a snapshot happening tonight for token holders, which you can get involved with. By qualifying for the snapshot, you're going to be able to vote or bet on their up-only gaming for their fighters. So you can go check it out at karate.com. Thank you all for tuning in. We're also live on YouTube at the Daily Bone Podcast. You can go check us out there, like and subscribe. If you're listening on Twitter Spaces, give us a follow at Bodagos ENT. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll catch you guys tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks again.